On this episode, I tear apart Harbor Freight pneumatic um, body saw, show you the guts, what's inside of it, and also give you a couple tips and tricks on how to make it last longer. So, without further ado, watch the video and, as usual, like, subscribe, hit that little bell on top so you can get more videos from me. And here we go. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is show you what I do when I get a new uh, air pneumatic tool from Harbor Freight. Now I find a lot of problems that I'm having with Harbor Freight tools, and I love Harbor Freight tools. They're 1/10 the price, and they they work fine. They're for the homeowner. In an industrial situation, I don't know if that would be the case, but for me at home, I think they work fine. But one thing I did notice through the years of using Harbor Freight is that about 50 to 75% of the time, a lot of the screws, internally or externally, will come out and damage the tool itself, and then you gotta chuck it. And of course, like this right here, I paid $17 for it. This one's the item number 62541. But I mean, I paid 17 bucks for it, so it's not the end of the world. But in order to keep them going, what I do is I take them completely apart and I Loctite everything with some red Loctite, which is the 271. It's the one that's permanent, and it seems to make them last longer. So in this video, I'm gonna pull this one apart and go ahead and Loctite everything. Show you how I pull it apart, how I Loctite it, and then we'll go ahead and we'll test it out and make sure that it's working fine. Okay. So, comes with directions. Don't need that. Comes with some Allens, and an extra guard. 2 Allens and an extra guard. One Allen is for the guard that slides in and out, and the other Allen is for the blade itself. Oil daily or warranty is void. Yeah, right. Well, you should oil it daily, but I never do. Okay, I only oil it when I'm having issues, which is not the right thing to do, but it's what I do. Alright, let me get something on here. Rag or something. Okay, so let's go ahead and take the tail end off. That one's on tight. I usually find at least one of these which is really loose. Oh, that one's loose. That one's tight. Not as tight as I'd like it, but it did give me some resistance when I went to take it off. Oh, that one's way loose. Yeah, that was way loose. I don't know why that is, but for some reason, I mean, really, I was I was an auto mechanic for about 10 years. I worked at a dealership, and so I have a lot of Snap-on and Mac and stuff like that. But I tell you, I never had this issue with those tools, and it's almost like Harbor Freight, their quality control. If they could get their screws tight, they'd be all set, because their tools are pretty good. But I don't know if it's planned to be that way, or it's just the It's just the quality control isn't good, but and that's how you take the guard off. But yeah, it's just, that's always seems to happen. So here we have this little gasket. Pretty neat looking little gasket there. It looks okay. I don't see no problems there. And this is the tail end. And that's what opens the valve for the air to go in through here. It's got a little tiny, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little screen in there, which is kind of neat. I mean, all in all, the mold that they used to make this, pretty good mold. But yeah. Okay, so we're gonna put that aside because there's nothing we really need to do there. We have this internal gasket, which goes right there. Okay, let's go ahead and take this off. This is the guard. Okay, so normally I don't go and take everything off, but I just wanted to show you just what goes into these things. There we go. So it's got two little push tabs on each side there. That pops out. Yeah, here's the RAM right here. The adjustment screws. This little lock plate, a lot of times these two will come loose and this thing will start wiggling all over the place, wear itself out, and that's the end of that. I do have I think maybe 3 or 4 of these that I've gotten throughout the past 10 years. What I usually do is I'll keep whatever section is still good on it just to rebuild the old one. Of course, I'd like to disclose the fact that I never rebuild the damn things. I always go and buy a new one for $17 or $10 or whatever the sale is on that day. But if I ever wanted to, I got the parts to do it. Okay, so now we're gonna take off this. Let's see if that's the same. That one had a little resistance to it. And so did that one. Not as much as I'd like, but it did have some resistance to it. I'm sure it would have backed up at some point. And it's hard to tell. You can actually see a little bit of oil on the end of that. Probably from the making process, I would imagine. But that's never a good thing. So that's why Loctiting it is going to be very essential. Okay, so now we got the RAM. Got that one there. Let's see if that's a 2.0 as well. Okay. And leave that on there for now. Okay. And there's the head. It'll go either way, I guess. It doesn't really matter because that set screw there is what's going to lock it in place. So let's put that set screw back in there. Let's see if I can even take this Allen out. I'll put that away. As we'll put these two in here. Okay, now we're going to let this go and try to capture that spring. Here we go. Okay, so now we have a spring right here. And there's no it's not a tapered end on it, so it can go either way, so I'm not worried about marking that. Okay. Now we have this plate. Take that off. That one there, it's on tight, so I might have been locked. If I can't move it, I'm not touching it, because that must have been Loctited. Yeah, I can see. Strange how they would Loctite that and nothing else. But yeah, no, that's been Loctited. That's not moving, so we're going to leave that alone. Now in here, we have another It's got another Allen in the center there. Let's see if you can see it. Right there. There it is. Okay, so I just grabbed the socket. It's giving me a little bit of a headache, so grab the socket. I'm going to line it up under there. And right there like that. Take my punch. Add it there. Make sure this is still good. And there it is. So like I said, you don't have to go through all this because it's not necessary. But I just wanted to show you what the inside looks like. And like I said, if I damage anything, I've got a couple of bodies that I can take parts off of. So basically, you have a sleeve here, and I can take it apart. You have a nice little sleeve here, and that's where the movement is. And see how loose that is? That's a no-no. That is going to cause issues. But you don't have to take it all apart for this. Here's this part here, which I've never actually taken out before. I was just curious to see what actually went on there. That's all internal stuff, nothing I can do anything with. So now we got clean this off. Some Loctite on this one. Another thing too is these bolts. They're not the strongest, so don't Incredible Hulk it. Just wanna feel that tension. Once you feel that tension, the Loctite's gonna do the rest. Okay, so now let's put this puppy back together again. Alright, so now I just got myself a scrap piece of metal, and I'm going to test it out. How's that? So, by Loctiting the screws, you will prolong this tool for home use anyways. This is not really for industrial, but for home use, you will prolong this tool. It'll last you a really long time. Um, don't take it apart like I did. You don't need to take all that stuff off. I just took all that off just to show you what the internal stuff like that. But yeah, anything that's a screw, especially, let me take this off. If you take these four off, when you take them off with it up and like this, lift it straight up. You're gonna have that little gasket in there. The hole's gonna match the hole on the inside of the case on that drum that's in there. So make sure you're aware of that. There's a screw right in the center there. You're gonna put your Allen wrench on that Allen screw there so that your shaft doesn't turn. You can pull that little screw out, put some Loctite, and put it back in until it doesn't go anymore. Don't over tighten it because you will strip it. But you just want that Loctite in there so that when it's snug, it's not going to loosen up. Because it doesn't have to be super duper tight. It just has to be snug, and it's got to be Loctited. So that one, these four, I know come out. And the two that are on this setting plate here that sets the blade to go straight, those two on top, those two need to be Loctited. Be very careful with those because they only go in about 1/8 of an inch into that lower plate. And again, if you over tighten it, you will strip it. There again, so by taking these precautions, you'll be able to have a tool that lasts you a long time, and it's very inexpensive. I mean, to replace this with a quality one from like Snap-on or Mac, you're probably looking between $100 to $200 for something like this. For Snap-on or Mac. And if you're in the industry like I used to be, then yeah, it's worth getting one of those because you're going to use it a long time. You're going to get your money back. But something like this that you don't use all the time, this is the way to go. On this episode, what am I doing on this episode?